coached high school, so it's really just what I like doing. But it's an interesting question. How far do I want to take it? As a business person, right now we're in year 3 of a 5-year business model to really round out what it is we're trying to accomplish right here in the DMV. What's interesting is that being a business person, naturally you want to do bigger things and make changes. So I don't see it being called DMVElite, probably in 3 years from now. There is a broader plan to take it further than the DMV, but at the same time, having accomplished what I originally set out to do, here in the DMV. I see other people like our sports editor Marcus Helton in place, working through Marcus to help bring athletes and other markets to the forefront, like what we've done here. Already we're making a footprint in North Carolina. I'm originally from North Carolina, so naturally I have some contacts and resources that have gotten me off the ground pretty quick in North Carolina. It's kind of hard to implement the brand of what we're doing here in another area using the same name, although the product remains the same. So but we're not trying to become a national company right away, but there is some East Coast plans in place to try and help us do the same thing in other markets.
Okay. So what made you want to do a camp for middle schoolers versus doing a camp like everybody else does with high schoolers and the older kids? What made you want to target that specific demographic?
Yeah, like Ray Lewis says, how come other people don't ask these good questions? But everybody does do 9th, 10th, and 11th, and quite honestly, we know we're going to do that as well. But there are already 9th, 10th, and 11th grade venues that are pretty successful, that are already running well, and kids are pretty accustomed to it. We plan on bringing our own brand too, but what it was really about for me is trying to get kids ready sooner than later. Having coached high school basketball and engaged in conversation with a lot of high school coaches and just people and coaches in general, and hearing them talk about, we're a kid who's clearly athletic, but where they aren't, and they're a 9th grader, for example. Hearing that consistently, and sometimes even in 10th grade, and you're looking at the kid and you see clearly that they have exactly what it takes. But somewhere along the way, they probably should have had a little bit more direction sooner than later so that they'd be a little more prepared by the time they got to the 9th, 10th, or 11th grade. So my idea was to reach back to 6th grade and start doing these types of things, not only to showcase them, but to get in their mindsets a little bit, to get better ready, to work even harder with their physical skills, but to also start to work hard on their mental understanding of the game, which is why we brought out good trainers to not only show them how to fine-tune their physical component, but how to do so as well with the mental side of the game. We also plan on incorporating, when you talk about mental, people that can sit and talk to kids and explain to them how to prepare themselves mentally and how to recognize certain situations, as well as better preparation for what they all have to and should be doing well is the SAT examination. We're talking to folks now about incorporating what we're doing to bring that to the forefront. Now it helps high school coaches recruit. I'm getting a whole lot of shine for that, and I think that's very important because it helps the they're trying to, and it helps the kids to be able to have that opportunity. But really and truly for me, it was to go back a little bit and get them better prepared. And I think if we can do that, we can have more kids instead of one or two standouts. We can have more kids better prepared for those types of opportunities.
Okay. All right, last question. Where do you see DMV basketball heading as a whole? Because a lot of people say it's underrepresented nationally. Everybody talks about California, New York, and sometimes Chicago is out there, and Detroit from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you see the footprint and the national scope of DMV basketball going with people like yourself that's trying to promote it? And where do you see it going in the next 5 years? Do you see it becoming on the same level as California, or do you see it still kind of being underrepresented?
That's a very good question too.